Need to use the restroom, sneak out to use someone else's toilet. While the couple is at work, he opened the fridge to look for food. He even carefully washed the dishes after. With nothing to do, he tidied up the bed. Why hasn't he been discovered yet? The reason is he was hiding from that. He hid in an antique wardrobe on a truck. When he emerged from inside, he found himself in someone else's bedroom. In a panic, he had to hide under the bed. He then overheard a conversation between the couple. This wardrobe is an antique left by Lisa's grandfather. Just sits in the house, unused. The man thought of hiding in the wardrobe to escape death at night. While the couple was sleeping, he carefully crawled out from under the bed. He used their bathroom to finally relieve himself, but he didn't sneak away. Instead, he quietly returned to the couple's bedroom. He crawled back under the bed to wait it out. The next morning, he saw the whole family have left for work. Only then, he dared to move out. First, he used Joe's razor to shave, then took a shower, used the hairdryer to dry off. Afterward, opened the fridge, took out the milk, had breakfast by soaking cookies in milk, politely washed the used bowls after eating, then found a workout outfit at home and changed. He also enjoys life, picked a favorite song. What he does next is even more bizarre. He first moved the antique wardrobe, removed the door of the white cabinet behind, then dismantled the back panel of the antique wardrobe. This allows the two wardrobes to connect. He heard someone coming back at this moment. Crawled into the antique cabinet, installed the back panel, hid inside the white cabinet. But was everything he did truly flawless? Let's continue and see. When the mistress entered, she immediately felt something was off. The usually messy kitchen was unusually tidy today. It was totally puzzling. When she entered the bedroom to change, she felt a sense of being watched. After her husband came home, she told him about the day's event. Her husband thought it was due to her illness affecting her memory. The next morning, after the family left, he stepped out of the cabinet again. This time, he was more cautious. He drew all the curtains just in case someone sees what's inside. Then, as usual, he took out his breakfast. After eating, he washed the bowl as usual. Strangely enough, he not only tidied up the mistress' bed, but also tidied up Mia's room. He even repaired some broken furniture. He saw himself as the man of the house because he was just so bored. That night, after the couple fell asleep, he sneaked out to find a book. He took it for a bit of fun. The next day, while they worked, he came out of the wardrobe. He sat on the couch to watch TV. Just as he was washing dishes, the mistress returned. He quickly grabbed cookies and water and sneaked back into his cabinet. The mistress still felt something was off. The dishes weren't done this morning. It was really strange. Could it be her forgetfulness acting up again? That night, he couldn't hold it anymore. Bathroom time. He just came from the main room. He didn't expect to run into Mia. He slowly shrank back. He thought, I'm done for. But unexpectedly, Mia thought she was seeing things. She turned and went to the loo. His anxiety finally eased. But the next day, a call from the hostess to her mother made him sweat again. The hostess told mom there might be a fourth person. When he heard this, he felt he couldn't hide anymore. But the hostess went on to say, maybe it's the spirit of her long-dead grandfather. Turns out it was a false alarm. Just then, he heard the hostess open the cabinet. She said something that frightened him. Who are you? Oh my, he was so scared he nearly wet himself. He didn't dare to breathe, but then things took a turn. The hostess used to sit in the cupboard as a child to share her thoughts. She grew sadder as she spoke of her childhood friends. He instinctively brushed the wet to comfort her. But startled the hostess, he surprised himself as well. The hostess found it increasingly strange. The next morning, once the house was empty, he was about to make himself some food, but he didn't expect Mia to sneak home with her boyfriend. In a panic, he had to stand against the wall, too afraid to move. What happened next was even more intense. Mia and her boyfriend went to her bedroom. Heavy breaths came from the bedroom, but it sounded like Mia was reluctant. He really wanted to stop it, but he didn't know how to present himself. That night, he came out from the closet. He heard Mia quietly crying inside. Heavy-hearted, he stood at the window. Now, he felt it was his family's issue. He had to do something. So, while Mia was asleep, he quietly entered her room and took her phone. He sent a text to Mia's boyfriend, arranging to meet at home. The next morning, after the three left, he opened the door. He bumped into the neighbor who warmly greeted him. At that moment, he could only respond awkwardly. After waiting in the house for a while, Mia's boyfriend arrived. He acted like he was the head of the household. He signaled for him to sit, and he bluntly said, I already know what's going on between you and Mia. I warned you to stay away from my daughter. However, Mia's boyfriend was no pushover and completely brushed off the warning. Infuriated, he grabbed him by the neck. He said, if you ask Mia for money or bully her again, I'll make sure it ends badly for you. In this situation, they were also afraid. He promised not to harass Mia again. I must say he was a quite capable master at this moment. One day, the lady of the house returned home early. She sat beside the wardrobe, talking to herself about her worries. For her, the wardrobe seemed like her emotional refuge, like another lover. Then she took off her shoes, lying in bed, immersed in the comfort of her own touches. The two seemed to find a resonance in their shared rhythm. They found comfort in each other. The next day, he emerged to open the drawer and look at the lady's clothes. Then he lay on the bed, savoring her lingering scent. He didn't know if he had fallen in love with the lady. However, the peace of life was suddenly shattered. A few days prior, his scolding of Mia's boyfriend caused a family argument. The daughter felt her father invaded her privacy. Facing Dad's excuses, Mia, angry, ran away from home. The master was utterly bewildered by it all. The mistress kept crying while trying to call her daughter. Meanwhile, he felt guilty. He truly didn't know how to make it up to Mia. As he opened the door for some fresh air, he ran into the neighbor greeting him. He could only nod in response. On that day, the man warmly saw the woman off on her trip, but didn't go to work himself. Then he drew the curtains. He felt something was off, so he peeked through the door crack. He was surprised to see the man brought a stranger home. He hid in the closet and listened the entire night. He thought about it a long while. He felt deep down that the man's behavior was highly immoral. How could he justify this to his partner? In the night, he saw the two in bed. This home had been completely ruined by those two. He knew he had to do something. After they left in the morning, he searched online for sophisticated ways to kill. This way is quite simple. He took 2 plastic bottles from the fridge. He cut them in half. Then he added a bit of meat as bait inside. He put it under the large tree. It wasn't long before a few bees crawled in. He placed the bees into a trash can and sealed the lid. At quitting time, the man returned home with that person again. Afterward, the woman left. The man went down to get some food. The moment he opened the trash can, all the bees suddenly flew out. Before long, Mr. Smith was stung to death by these killer bees. Seeing the scene before him, he became the only man in the house. As expected, the investigation was ruled an accident. From that point on, there was no man in the house. Only he and Miss Johnson had time alone together. As time gradually passed, he could no longer resist. He often came out of the closet at midnight and crawled into Miss Johnson's bed. He would snuggle up to her. She just accepted his presence.